So it's my birthday, you know, it's my birthday. Any of you guys ever had birthdays before? Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's my birthday, you know, but I'm such an old guy. Instead of blowing out my candle, you know what I did? I blew out my knee. You know?
Shut up, Dan!
Because I'm an old guy. All right, we got a blabbermouth in the audience. All right, okay. So, hey, speaking of being old, so the kids these days, I just don't get them. Like my son, you know, and you guys know him. So my son the other day told me he was pansexual, you know. Now I gotta hide my pots and pans. You know? In case he, you know, he tries to, have sex with them. You know? In case he tries to do something like that. You know? Alright, what's up with this guy, huh? Oh, we got a celebrity guest in the audience. Everybody, we got Jordan Peterson over here, you know? We got like unconventional relationships here, you know? Okay, yeah, you know. Hey, how long you been on the keto diet? Because I can tell you're intolerant of fruits, huh? Hey, speaking of fruit, so I used to be a delivery guy, you know, delivering pieces of fruit. You know, I used to do that, you know, drive around delivering pieces of fruit, yeah. Till my boss fired me, and I said, why? Why? You know what he said? He said I was driving in bananas. You know? He said that. Then I got another delivery job. You know, I was delivering cashews. You guys know what cashews are? No, okay. So I was delivering cashews, and my boss fired me from that. And I said, why? Why? You know what he said? He said I was driving him nuts. Yeah? I thought that was just part of the job. Now I had one last job. I was delivering bunkers, you know? You know, those are the type of doll or something. I don't know. Just work with me here. So I was doing bonkers, and my boss fired me from that. I said, why? Why? You know what he said? He said, it's because I was always late. You know? That was pretty unprofessional, and I don't blame you for that. So, hey, speaking of people that should lose their jobs, what's up with the president, right? Yeah, that guy, President Nixon, I don't care about him. But did you know that before he started his career in politics, President Nixon used to be a baker? It's true! It's true! He was a baker, you know? Working in one of those restaurants, baking something. Now, one time he was baking something in this restaurant, you know? I don't know exactly what it was, you know, maybe it was like a blueberry muffin, you know? Maybe it was like a rhubarb scone, you ever had one of those, you know? Or maybe it was like a red velvet cheesecake brownie, you know? I don't know exactly what it was, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the details of this story, some of the details are lost in that vast ocean of history, some folks might say. But the crux of the story, ladies and gentlemen, the important part of the story is that he was a baker, and he was baking something, okay? You know? Okay. So this waiter comes in, you know, this waiter fella comes in, you know, he's like, you know, waiting, you guys know about waiters, okay. So this waiter comes in, he needs something cooked up, and he says as much to Mr. Nixon, you know, who, remember, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in his life, at this point in time in his life, he's a baker, you know. This is long before his career in politics, you know. This is before he was elected, you know, in the California House of Representatives, you know. And so then this would be before, ladies and gentlemen, you can deduce, ladies and gentlemen, that at this point, this is before he was elected to the office of Senator of the state of California. Yes, this guy's following over here. Hey, share some of the Adderall there, buddy. All right. So this guy's paying attention. So he knows that, this guy knows that this is before he was on that winning ticket that got him into the office of Vice President of the United States. And by knowing that, ladies and gentlemen, by knowing all that, one could concur that this is before he was elected to the office of President of the United States. No, this is before all that, when he was just a baker.
What?
Okay? So remember this, ladies and gentlemen. So this waiter comes in and he needs something cooked up, you know? And he says as much to Mr. Nixon, you know? And you know, the waiter, I don't know what he needed cooked up, but he needed something, you know? Maybe it was like a tuna steak, you know? You ever had a tuna steak before? Yeah, you have. Or maybe it was like a salmon fillet, you guys know about those, you know? Or let's say, ladies and gentlemen, let's say for the sake of storytelling, it was a pork chop. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a fancy restaurant, so this is not just some pork chop you just throw on the grill all willy-nilly, you know? this is something that would require like a salt and pepper and a rosemary and minced garlic dry rub, you know? Then you throw it and you sear it on the cast iron a little bit on both sides. But it doesn't just end there, ladies and gentlemen. No, it doesn't just end there, you know? Then when he removes it from the heat, he needs to do something, you know, like add a couple tablespoons of butter, you know? Let that foam, you know? He had some like minced shallots, you know? Let those soften after a couple minutes, you know, ladies and gentlemen, maybe something like that, you know? Then you add like a Merlot, you know, and some pitted cherries. You ever had cherries before? Oh, okay. Hey, welcome. You're right in the middle of the story. But we're getting to the good part, ladies and gentlemen. You are just in time because we're at the part where the waiter comes in. Remember, now what he needed cooked up, ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't tell you because some of the details of this story are lost in that vast ocean of history, as some people might say, you know. I wouldn't say that, you know. That's a stupid saying. I wouldn't say that. But some people might say that, you know. So ladies and gentlemen, remember, ladies and gentlemen, so this waiter comes in and he says to Mr. Nixon, and remember, this is the key point, sir. This is the key point. This is before his career in politics. This is when he's just a baker, you know. But the waiter comes in and he needs something cooked up, you know. And he says as much to Mr. Nixon, you know. He says that. You know? But he didn't know he was just a baker. You know, he had his baker's hat on. You ever see one of those, you know? He had his baker's apron. You know, you've seen one of those, you know, okay? So you could see how the guy could be confused. You couldn't hold it against him, ladies and gentlemen. No, you couldn't. How he could think that when he needed something cooked up, that Mr. Nixon, who, remember, this is the important part, this is the takeaway, that he's just a baker. So he asked for something to be cooked up, and you know, Mr. Nixon says no. He won't do it. So naturally, ladies and gentlemen, naturally, the waiter wants to know why. And he asks as much, he says, why, you know? Aren't you the cook? And you know what Mr. Nixon said? He said, I am not you know, he said, because remember, he didn't know if he asked him if he was a cook, so he says, I am not what did he say? Oh yeah, he said, I'm just a baker, you fool. You know? You know, some of the details of the story are lost in that vast ocean of history, as some people may say. But I do remember, ladies and gentlemen, I do remember that his retort to if he was a cook, he said, I'm just a baker, you know. You know, Jacob McFadden, you know, it was of his opinion earlier that joke wouldn't work, you know. And you know what they say about opinions, that they're like assholes. You know, Jacob McFadden always wants to shove his in everybody's face. But you know, it seems in this situation he is correct. You know, seems to work out. You know, I agree with you, sir. I agree, Jacob McFadden, that joke didn't work. But your host tonight, Jacob McFadden, was nice enough to write some savers, as we say in the industry. So here are some jokes to save the show, written by your host, the hard-working Jacob McFadden. Okay. All right, here's a joke from the mind of Jacob McFadden. All right. The mystery of Malaysian Flight 370 was solved after finding the black box containing the pilot's last words, I've had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
That's not funny.
Yeah, Jacob, that joke wasn't very good, all right? You know,
that's not a good one.
Yeah, well, at least you tried, you know, that's what matters. At least you had fun. All right, let's see if this one's better. All right, here this one's ripped from today's headlines, ladies and gentlemen. Another joke written by your host and my friend, Jacob McFadden. Okay. A man stole an armored car and was arrested last night in Richmond, Virginia.
That's true.
And so far, he has only been charged with a DUI. I guess you could say he was pretty tanked. All right, Jacob, that was a little bit better. All right, here's another joke. Here's another news joke from the mind of the brilliant Jacob McFadden. Okay, here we go. Rachel Dolezal is back in the news. Remember her? Remember she's that white lady pretending to be black? All right. She's back in the news after being charged with welfare fraud. Hey, Rachel, enough with the cultural appropriation. Oh, Jacob, why would you write a joke like that? Let's see if this one's any better. Another joke from the mind of your host, the brilliant rising star, Jacob McFadden. Here we go. I, Jacob McFadden, am a proud bisexual. I don't care if I'm with a man or a woman, as long as they have a big, juicy cock. All right, Jacob, I guess that's your way of coming out of the closet. You know, let's give him a round of applause. That's very good. That's very good. All right, here's the penultimate joke. That means second to last, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the penultimate joke by local funny man, Jacob McFadden. All right. My dad used to feed me by saying, "Here comes the train." Then I'd open my mouth, and he'd feed me his big cock while his work buddies ran a train on my hot twink ass. All right, Jacob, I'm very sorry to hear that. You know, it sounds very painful. Sounds very painful, both emotionally and for your hot twink ass. All right, here's the final joke, written by the brilliant young man, very good guy, Jacob McFadden. All right, here we go. I, Jacob McFadden, am in an open relationship. By which I mean, I often find my hot twink ass open up for strange men to have sex with in exchange for a small amount of money. All right, Jacob, well, there you go. Well, come on back on the stage. I guess I'm done, you know. Jacob's a very